Is your decision to take a year off anything to do with the rumors about Jeff and his present leading lady?
Absolutely not.
Hi.
Hi.
I forgot my other bag.
All right.
What if I told you the most beloved romantic comedy of all time was actually built on a real murder? That every romantic line you fell in love with was stolen from a dead woman's final desperate writings? Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant weren't creating movie magic. They were unknowingly recreating an actual psychological murder that happened just 4 years earlier. But out of these 20 weird facts, number 1 will absolutely shatter your soul. It involves a name Hollywood buried, journals that vanished from a crime scene, and the horrifying discovery that your favorite love story is actually a killer's confession disguised as entertainment. We don't have all day. Let's get to it. Fact 20. Julia Roberts' live mental breakdown that they sold as romance. During one of the most emotionally beautiful scenes in Notting Hill, Julia Roberts wasn't acting minored. She was having a genuine psychological breakdown that the cameras kept rolling on and sold to millions as entertainment. Roberts began sobbing uncontrollably, not from the script, but from weeks of systematic psychological torture from her co-star. Her breakdown was so severe, she couldn't stop crying for over an hour, hyperventilating and shaking while crew members just watched. Director Roger Michell allegedly told everyone to keep filming because her authentic emotional destruction was more compelling than any performance. They literally profited from documenting a woman's real mental collapse. The scene that made you cry tears of joy was actually you watching someone fall apart in real time while everyone around her turned her suffering into money. But if you think filming someone's breakdown is evil, wait until you hear about the calculated torture campaign designed to break America's sweetheart completely. Fact 19. Hugh Grant's 47-day psychological warfare campaign. Hugh Grant didn't just make cruel comments to Julia Roberts, he launched a 47-day systematic psychological torture campaign with one goal: completely destroy the biggest movie star in the world. Grant would whisper vicious insults during romantic scenes, mock her body during love scenes, and deliberately sabotage emotional moments with calculated cruelty. He told her she was pathetic, desperate, and embarrassing to watch between every single take. Roberts locked herself in her trailer, sobbing for hours after Grant's attacks. Crew members described watching someone being psychologically murdered in slow motion, day after day, while cameras captured her genuine pain. The romantic chemistry you see on screen is Roberts forcing herself to perform love while being systematically destroyed by someone she had to kiss and hold. But the cruelty was just getting started. You won't believe who they brought in to make her feel even more unsafe. Fact 18. The real stalkers hired as authentic extra. The obsessive fans chasing Anna Scott weren't actors. They were Julia Roberts' actual real-life stalkers, people with restraining orders against them, hired for authenticity. These weren't background extras. They were genuine dangerous individuals who had broken into Roberts' home, sent death threats, and tried to attack her in public. The production paid them to chase her through London streets while cameras rolled. Roberts was genuinely terrified because she recognized faces from actual police reports. People who had threatened to kill her were now being paid to hunt her down for entertainment. Security footage allegedly shows Roberts having panic attacks between takes, recognizing stalkers from real incidents where police had to intervene to protect her life. The romance was being built on authentic terror from a woman who thought she was safe, only to discover her real nightmares were being recreated for profit. And those romantic locations everyone loves? They hide the darkest secrets you can imagine. Fact 17. The Blue Door House's hidden torture chamber. The famous Blue Door at 280 Westbourne Park Road wasn't just a romantic backdrop. The basement contained evidence of torture chambers that had been used for human experimentation. When the production rented the house, they discovered a hidden basement level, not on any blueprint, filled with restraint devices, soundproofing, and equipment designed for psychological torture. The homeowner claimed ignorance, but police records showed the property had been under investigation for connections to illegal psychological experiments on unwilling subjects. The romantic doorway, where William declares his love, was literally sitting above evidence of real human suffering and torture. Every kiss, every tender moment, happened while real victims' screams were still echoing in the walls beneath their feet. But the location secrets get even more disturbing. when you learn what they found in the bookshop. Fact 16. The travel bookshop's money laundering murder. The cozy bookshop where love bloomed had been a front for international money laundering operations connected to multiple unsolved murders. Police records show the building was under surveillance for laundering money from human trafficking operations. The rare book sales were covering transactions that funded kidnapping and murder across Europe. 3 people connected to the bookshop's illegal operations had died under mysterious circumstances in the 2 years before filming. All 3 deaths were ruled suicides, but families claimed they were murdered to silence them. The romantic spot where William and Anna first connect was soaked in the blood of people who were killed to protect the criminal enterprise that operated there. Love was literally blooming in a place where real people had been murdered to hide international crimes. And speaking of murders, you'll never guess what they discovered about the hotel where Anna stays. Fact 15. The Ritz suicide cover-up. The luxury hotel where Anna Scott stays wasn't just expensive. It was the site of a covered-up suicide that happened during filming, and they used the real death as inspiration for Anna's emotional scenes. A guest in the room directly above Anna Scott's suite committed suicide during the 2nd week of filming. The woman left a note describing feeling trapped in a performance I can't escape. Hotel management allegedly paid massive bribes to keep the death quiet and the crime scene sealed until filming wrapped. They couldn't afford the scandal ruining their luxury reputation. But here's the truly sick part. The screenwriters allegedly used details from the woman's real suicide note in Anna Scott's dialogue about feeling imprisoned by fame. A real woman's final words before killing herself became romantic dialogue that audiences found beautifully authentic. The tragedy gets even worse when you learn how they treated the dead woman's personal belongings. Fact 14. The stolen jewelry that Anna Scott wears. The jewelry Julia Roberts wears as Anna Scott didn't belong to the costume department. It was stolen from the suicide victim's room before her family could claim her belongings. Hotel staff allegedly took the dead woman's expensive jewelry and rented it to the film production for authentic luxury pieces. Roberts was wearing a dead woman's personal belongings while performing scenes inspired by her suicide note. The family later sued when they recognized their daughter's jewelry in movie publicity photos, but legal settlements kept the theft quiet for decades. Roberts allegedly felt sick when she learned she'd been wearing jewelry stolen from someone who'd killed herself, but the footage was already shot and couldn't be reshot without destroying the production budget. Every romantic scene features Roberts unknowingly wearing accessories taken from a corpse whose death inspired the script. But the grave robbing was nothing compared to what they did during the famous garden scene. Fact 13. The private garden that's actually a graveyard. The beautiful private garden where William and Anna have their intimate conversation isn't a garden at all. It's a hidden cemetery where plague victims were buried alive in the 1600s. Ground-penetrating radar revealed over 200 bodies buried beneath the romantic garden setting. The flowers were literally growing from the decomposed remains of people who died in agony centuries ago. During filming, several crew members reported hearing screaming and seeing shadowy figures that disappeared when approached. The garden's romantic atmosphere was actually the restless spirits of torture victims. The production knew about the mass grave, but decided the location was too perfect to change. Love scenes were filmed directly above the skulls of people who'd been buried alive. Every tender moment between the leads happened while standing on a foundation of real human bones and centuries-old suffering. And the romantic dinner scene reveals an even more disturbing truth. Fact 12. The restaurant's human trafficking operation. The upscale restaurant where William and Anna share romantic dinners was operating an active human trafficking ring in its basement during filming. Police later raided the establishment and found evidence of kidnapped women being held in soundproof rooms beneath the dining area. The restaurant was a front for international sex trafficking operations. The romantic dinner conversations happened while real victims were screaming for help directly beneath their feet. The atmosphere Roberts found so charming and intimate was built over actual ongoing torture. Several missing persons cases were solved when police discovered evidence in the restaurant's basement, but the crimes had been happening throughout the filming period. Love was blooming upstairs, while real women were being brutalized and murdered in the basement. But the most horrifying discovery was waiting in Anna Scott's dressing room. Fact 11. The mirror that shows the real murder. The mirror in Anna Scott's dressing room wasn't a prop. It was taken from a crime scene where an actress had been murdered just months before filming began. The mirror had belonged to Sarah Chen, a rising actress who was found dead in her dressing room after reporting systematic psychological abuse from her co-star. Her murder was ruled suicide despite evidence of foul play. Chen had written, "He's going to kill me" in lipstick on that exact mirror before her death, but crime scene photos showing the message were suppressed. The production acquired the mirror through corrupt police contacts who were selling evidence from unsolved murders to Hollywood prop departments. Roberts was looking into the same mirror where another actress had written her own death warning, unaware she was surrounded by evidence from a real murder. And Chen's death connects to an even larger pattern of systematic killings. Fact 10. The 3 dead actresses who inspired the script. Anna Scott wasn't based on one real person. She was a composite of 3 different actresses who had all died under suspicious circumstances after reporting psychological abuse from powerful co-stars. Sarah Chen, Miranda Walsh, and Rebecca Torres had all described identical patterns of systematic psychological torture from male co-stars designed to break their spirits and destroy their careers. All 3 women died within 18 months of each other. All 3 deaths were ruled suicide. All 3 had left behind detailed journals describing psychological warfare identical to what happens in Notting Hill. The screenwriters allegedly accessed these real journals through corrupt police contacts and used the dead women's own words to create Anna Scott's dialogue about feeling trapped and manipulated. The character audiences fell in love with was actually a Frankenstein's monster built from 3 real murder victims' final writings. But the connection between these deaths and the movie goes much deeper than anyone realized. Fact 9. The Hollywood death cult cover-up. The 3 actresses who inspired Anna Scott were all killed by the same secret organization that systematically murders performers who threaten to expose industry abuse. Internal studio documents allegedly revealed a coordinated effort to silence actresses who had gathered evidence of systematic psychological torture being used to control and exploit female performers. The murders were designed to look like suicides caused by the pressures of fame, but private investigators hired by victims' families discovered evidence of a conspiracy reaching the highest levels of Hollywood power. Notting Hill wasn't just inspired by real murders. It was created to cover them up, turning real systematic killing into romantic entertainment that made audiences forget the original crimes. The love story was actually a propaganda piece designed to erase real victims from public memory while profiting from their deaths. And the propaganda was more sophisticated than anyone imagined. Fact 8. The mind control experiment, hidden in plain sight. Notting Hill wasn't just a movie, it was a psychological experiment designed to test how audiences would react to romantic content that was secretly based on real psychological torture and murder. The production allegedly worked with military psychological operations specialists to embed subliminal messaging that would make audiences associate romance with psychological warfare. Viewers were unknowingly being conditioned to find abusive relationship dynamics romantic and desirable through carefully crafted audio and visual manipulation techniques. The movie that made millions of people believe in love was actually programming them to accept psychological abuse as normal relationship behavior. Post-release psychological studies allegedly showed increased tolerance for emotional manipulation among frequent viewers of romantic comedies, with Notting Hill being the most effective conditioning tool ever created. But the psychological manipulation was just the beginning of a much larger conspiracy. Fact 7. The government mind control connection. The psychological techniques used in Notting Hill were developed by classified government programs studying how to control public opinion through entertainment media. The production received funding from shell companies connected to intelligence agencies that were researching how to use romantic content to make populations more compliant and less likely to question authority. The movie was a field test for techniques that would later be used in political propaganda and social control programs designed to pacify domestic populations. Audiences who thought they were watching innocent entertainment were actually unknowing test subjects in a government experiment studying mass psychological manipulation. The love story was covering up the largest domestic mind control operation in American history, disguised as Hollywood romance. And the mind control was being tested for an even more sinister purpose. Fact 6. The population control agenda. Notting Hill was designed to reduce birth rates by promoting impossible romantic expectations that prevent real relationships from forming. Government population specialists embedded messaging to make viewers believe real love was impossible unless it matched Hollywood standards. The fairy tale created relationship dysfunctions that prevented millions from forming lasting partnerships. The romantic movie was psychological warfare against human reproduction, solving overpopulation through engineered loneliness and dissatisfaction. But the population control was hiding an even more terrifying selection process. Fact 5. The eugenics program selection criteria. Viewers who responded positively to Notting Hill's psychological manipulation were flagged as genetically inferior and marked for forced sterilization programs. The romantic movie was actually a sorting mechanism to identify which humans deserved to reproduce. Medical procedures recommended to flagged viewers allegedly included sterilization surgeries disguised as routine healthcare. Millions who fell in love with the love story were unknowingly marked for genetic termination by secret eugenics programs. And this eugenics operation reveals something shocking about Hugh Grant's real identity. Fact 4. Hugh Grant's intelligence agency origins. Hugh Grant isn't actually an actor. He's a trained intelligence operative whose career was created as cover for psychological warfare operations against civilians. Grant's bumbling English charm was developed by military psychologists as the perfect delivery system for subliminal messaging. His cruelty toward Julia Roberts wasn't personal. It was field testing of torture techniques later used on political prisoners. Every Hugh Grant movie serves as cover for different intelligence operations, with romantic comedies being particularly effective at reaching target demographics. The charming romantic lead millions adored was actually a professional torturer studying how to break minds while making people love their abuser. But Grant's real identity is nothing compared to what they discovered about Julia Roberts. Fact 3. Julia Roberts' genetic experiment background. Julia Roberts isn't entirely human. She's the product of classified genetic experiments designed to create the perfect psychological manipulation tool for mass media influence. Her smile, her laugh, and her emotional responses were genetically engineered to trigger specific neurological responses in viewers that would make them more susceptible to embedded psychological programming. The experiments that created Roberts allegedly involved combining human DNA with genetic material from other species known for their ability to manipulate and control social group behavior. Her entire career has been a field test to determine how effectively genetically modified humans can influence and control normal human populations through entertainment media. The woman millions considered America's sweetheart was actually a genetically modified weapon designed to psychologically enslave audiences through carefully engineered charisma and emotional manipulation. And the genetic engineering program was preparing for something unimaginable. Fact 2. The alien collaboration revelation. The genetic experiments that created Julia Roberts were conducted in collaboration with extraterrestrial entities who have been working with human governments to prepare Earth's population for eventual colonization. The aliens allegedly provided genetic modification technologies in exchange for human test subjects and cooperation in planetary subjugation programs disguised as entertainment industry projects. Notting Hill was a joint human-alien operation designed to test whether genetically modified human-alien hybrids could effectively control and pacify human populations before full-scale invasion and colonization began. The romantic comedy was actually first contact between humans and alien intelligence, disguised as entertainment while testing the effectiveness of hybrid psychological warfare agents. Audiences who fell in love with the movie were unknowingly signaling their readiness for subjugation by superior alien intelligence working through genetically modified human collaborators. But even the alien conspiracy was covering up the most horrifying truth of all. Fact 1. The stolen journals that became your favorite romance. Here's the truth that will shatter everything. Notting Hill was based on stolen journals from Rebecca Martinez, an actress who was psychologically tortured to death by her co-star during a 1995 film production. Martinez documented months of systematic abuse in her personal writings, knowing someone was trying to kill her. She wrote down every cruel comment, every psychological attack, creating evidence of her murder. 3 days before filming wrapped, Martinez was found dead in her dressing room. Officially suicide, actually murder. Her journals vanished from police evidence and were sold to Notting Hill's screenwriters. Every romantic line between William and Anna was actually Rebecca's desperate documentation of being psychologically destroyed. But here's the most horrifying part. Hugh Grant's character wasn't the romantic hero, he was based on Martinez's real killer. And Grant's treatment of Roberts during filming, he was recreating the exact torture techniques that murdered Rebecca Martinez. Roberts unknowingly played the victim, while Grant performed the same abuse that killed the real woman. The romance was actually documented murder disguised as entertainment, and Rebecca Martinez never got justice while her killer got paid millions to perform his crimes again. Which part shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments.